are you doing?
Just edit it out.
Yeah, I can. I can do whatever I want.
I'm doing all right. I think overall, like everything is okay. Things are smooth. Getting things done that need to be done, like responsibility wise. So that always makes me feel like things are okay. But, I don't know. I feel like the job keeps me busy enough that during the day, I'm like, firing on all cylinders at work and work mode and fully consumed with that, which has been great in times of like struggle in life where like maybe I'm not doing so well mental health wise. Keeps me busy enough that I'm not, like
Just sitting.
stressing about life. And I've had jobs that are slower where, I didn't make it at work because it would think, so caught up mentally. So I've liked having this type of role because it keeps me super busy and keeps me focused, like, in the present, but
kind of pulls you separate ways too. Yeah.
But I feel like it's affecting like maybe like my sense of time where because I'm focused on that and then outside of that, like focused on kids and just trying to show up to all the responsibilities that the little bit of free time that I do have, like for myself or whatever, is very minimal compared to like everyone else's sense of time and ability to analyze like life. Everybody else seems to have more time to think about how they're feeling about life, and their thoughts and feelings about whatever's going on in life. Where I'm just like,
this is life.
go, just taking care of business, and it's like, my timeline for that thought is so short compared to, I think, the average bear that like, it feels like more time goes by a lot faster than I realize, like 6 months goes by much faster because I'm looking at it so in such small segments daily,
right.
that my like 6 weeks of thinking about something is like the equivalent to like 6 months for somebody else.
It's like not having any kind of time or day or even an hour during the day to reflect on how things are going in your life. That's when time can literally run away from you.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think it's good or do you think it's bad?
I think in terms of,
or do you think it's needs to be a balance, right?
I think I need to find a better balance. I think that's probably where I struggle a little bit because I feel like a sense of detachment to some level for like everything personal because my responsibilities take up so much time and focus. It's like I'm thinking about stuff a lot less and therefore not as well connected maybe in certain areas of life that I'm usually pretty in tune with.
Yeah.
So like, I think in terms of like overall life, I think it's a good thing that I'm showing up to things that I need to and handling business, like the right way, kind of pushing forward no matter what. And I think that I've gained in some areas, like, I think faith in the process of life and everything happening. I've kind of settled into like having that be more of like a knowing, if I'm putting in the right type of intention with the right value system attached to it, that like I'll get a return in some fashion that I'd like to have, I guess, from life. But
what's life training too? Me and Matt were just talking about this yesterday. Like, if you think, even the shit that I've been dealing with and whatever, as much as I struggle through and as much as I despise it and, curse my way through it or whatever, it's still teaching you to like be able to walk through the fire.
Yeah. I mean,
even on your bad days.
Yeah. There's been plenty of times in life where I lacked the, like the wherewithal to understand that what I'm going through is really leveling me up and teaching me something. And now like I have that awareness to what I'm going through. So like I don't get into my feelings as much as I used to, which for a long time that was a lot of the point of the work that I was doing mentally, was to be able to look at life through more of like a detached perspective, and not detached like I'm not involved or not caring about life, but detachment to the outcome. You know, like I think for a long time, everything that I would do was almost controlled in some way by what I wanted the outcome to be. And now, because I'm just showing up every day in a consistent kind of disciplined way, I don't contemplate all of the ins and outs of it. You know, I just have faith that that is all going to transpire to the things that I want in life. But I definitely don't feel like I'm taking the same amount of time to reflect and maybe grow in certain areas personally as I could be or would be if I was spending more time on that, you know?
But it sounds like you think, I don't know your time, right? But it sounds like your time is allocated for, right?
Yeah.
So how do you force yourself to have, how do you personally do it?
So for me, I've noticed that I have certain distractions that I allow to creep in at times, you know, and I typically, like, my routine would be in the most optimal way would be me getting up and like having my coffee and doing some reading and some meditating and maybe like a workout. And I have let other things spill into that slightly just to allow myself to be distracted, you know, being a little bit tired and not getting right into something that would be beneficial in the morning and just replacing it with like scrolling or playing a game, you know. And I play certain games. I think we've even talked about just because it keeps me from spiraling or like having too much anxiety through the day. So
Yeah.
I'll play a game to just distract myself and do some sort of like strategy, you know,
Yeah.
to occupy my mind. But I could definitely utilize that time a little bit,
I mean,
you know, better.
okay, so to go on the same kind of subject, I like I've been dealing with detachment in the wrong way to the point where I'm at the point where I've spiraled quite a bit in the wrong direction because I've got too many fires burning in one place because I'm trying to grow three different things at once.
Hmm.
And in doing that, my priorities shift all the time because I get to a stopping point here and I have to wait for finances or I have to wait for whatever. And then I need to go back and get more money to get this one rolling. And so it's just like a constant. And I know that eventually that gets to the top as long as you keep working towards it. But I'm to the point now where I'm noticing myself like I'm really foggy brained. I'm not like I'm staring off a lot into my own thoughts again because I don't have a routine. A lot of it on top of it is the weather's changing. Like I'm very
It's very gray out right now.
I am very susceptible to like seasonal depression. And I know that for a fact. And I know that that's like half the reason that I really strive to go and live in Colorado where it's just sunny like 90% of the time.
Except for snow.
I don't
and
care about the
winter
snow.
and all that.
I love the snow. I love the winter. I hate the fact that the sun's not here. But so I noticed that detachment coming, and on top of it, you know, in going back to having to do construction to pay for the things that we're doing here and move shit around, I take on those negative aspects that I hated about it, how it makes me feel and how things don't ever work out and how I know that things don't ever work out the way that they're supposed to because it's just part of the job and that's technically what you're getting paid for. You're getting paid to do the job that somebody else doesn't want to do because everything extra pops up, but you know how to do it.
Yeah, you're capable.
Yeah. So I don't like how I let that make me feel. I don't like where it brings me, where I allow it to bring me. I get really pessimistic about everything. And then by the time I get home, because I'm not somebody who's like, oh, I'll just work 6 hours for today or, oh, I'll just put in 4. Like nope, we're staying to get this job done from A to B.
I'm going to work 16 hours for 4 days so that I can have 3 days off.
Right. And I get it sounds crazy, but at the same time, when it comes to the finances of the job, if I'm there working, I'm making more and I'm able to not have to work for another 2 weeks if I just get this job done in 3 days. And then also it frees my time up for the next 2 weeks to work on the things that I really want to work on. Dreams are built that way.
So do you think that your problem is with the perspective and remembering to keep yourself in the right type of perspective as you're going through it? Or is it not making time?
My perspective obviously stays to the point of the only reason that I'm doing this is to successfully build the things that I love with the people that I love. However, when it's not like I have it tattooed on my fucking hand. Like, it's hard when you're in the mix of it, when everything's going right and you have a plan in your mind, like the job is going to go from here to here. And even though you've been in the field long enough to know that that doesn't fucking happen no matter what you do. And if it does, it's a miracle and you made it out. Something is always going to add on, or a customer is always going to be like, hey, can you do this too? And I'm not I'm always a person to put the customer first and be like, yeah, I can do that. It's no problem at all. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more, and I don't mind doing that. Like, that brings in extra money.
Yeah.
But the perspective for me, it's hard to remember that in the middle of it. When I'm swinging a fucking hammer or I'm crawling around on my knees doing the flooring, and I'm fighting every little thing. It's hard to be like, remember why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in war. I'm not fucking
it.
I don't have a family back home starving to death.
Right.
I could go work somewhere else and pop up to a management position easily. However, that doesn't create the freedom for me. Right? It doesn't create the freedom for me to help all of us get to a stage where we're doing this. That's the sacrifices.
I get it.
So I'm just fighting, like I'm fighting detachment in the wrong way. And I'm trying to find ways to bring myself back. Me and Matt were talking about like bringing my physical and my mental state back by being capable. And so like I'm doing all this cool stuff to my guns, whatever, like I've been wanting to do for years. And in a state of my physical health, I care more about being like what pushes me more is not my want to look good. What pushes me more is like wanting to work out, wanting to do stuff. What pushes me more is being capable. So if something were to happen, or if I need to
prepared
and being capable. So in terms of thinking that way, like my brain started, like I started to help kind of shift my brain into, okay, well, if that's what actually pushes you to want to work out, then that needs to be your focus, not focusing on looking good, down in Florida once a year. Like my brain kind of said that, like, oh, I need to go to the gym because I need to start going to the gym because we're going to go to Florida for our anniversary. Like that was one of my thoughts. And I go, no, it's because I want to be capable to be able to protect and be able to live long enough to help people and help myself.
Yeah.
So,
have you considered that maybe this feeling that you're going through and experiencing is like what you need to go through to make peace with what you're going through is there as a challenge for you to get through, to make peace with the struggle that you're having about the issue.
Yeah. That's what I was just saying to you. It's like, everything that I'm going through right now.
Well, it's always like that. I mean, I guess there's the high level, easy way of thinking that I guess maybe it's not super easy, but the idea of that like stoic mindset where you're going through the uncomfortable, knowing that it's going to benefit you to grow you,
Well, and the challenges that get brought to me would not be brought to me if I wasn't capable of getting through them. I've been through worse things. Like I've been through real shitty things. However, each problem that was given to me has taught me a lesson, and I know that I'm in it. It's just the lessons that I'm being taught, and like having that mindset, I know that I'm capable of getting through them because the lesson exists for me to get through.
Are you attaching to more of an outcome than just enjoying the experience?
I don't think that I feel as if so I'm not attaching myself to an outcome other than the outcome of figuring out how to make all of this work. Right. But that's not like a set goal.
Yeah, you don't have it necessarily clearly defined as what that will look like. It's
Right.
just the reward that should come, the fruit that should come
Yeah.
from this hard work.
Yeah. Man, I just blanked on what else I was going to say.
Because I feel the same way. You know, I will purposefully get out on site and go do physical work and get my hands dirty because I've always done that, and it keeps me, you know, in shape, and it makes me, the main reason is to give myself the perspective and that reminder all the time of this is what I would be doing day in and day out if I wasn't, you know, striving for more. And that's great. But then when I get in a point where I have to do it, you know, beyond the time that I want to allow myself to do that, then it's, you know, it's hard not to slip in that attitude of like, this sucks. This is why I'm not doing that. Like, I don't like this. It's the whole reason I have worked hard to get away from this.
Yeah. Me and you have called each other being like, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm in that spot definitely right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I know that I'm capable of getting out of it, and I know that this is a big lesson. It's just, it's almost as if the lessons, like you would think, because I've learned more throughout the years and I've learned how to kind of work myself through a bad spot, you would think that the lessons get easier. And it's like, holy shit, they're getting harder.
Yeah, well, they change. I mean, I know for myself, at one point in time, my battles were so heavy, like mentally, that I had to, you know, start with the bare basics to get myself out of that negative frame of mind, you know, and I had to really get back to basics with just my daily routine and the discipline to take care of myself. And then slowly over time that evolved, you know, and continues to evolve into these like higher level challenges or thoughts on life, you know. And then what I've been thinking about this week is, well, I've abandoned a lot of those simple disciplines and I'm not being less productive, right? Like it's evolved to where I'm still carrying a high level of value or production, you know, in what I have going on. But I see that I've left some of those core fundamentals that are so important to maintain, like all of those other things, you know, eating right, working out. I've been taking the kids to the boxing gym, you know, the past few weeks, and we've been getting more active with that and boxing more. And that always, you know, any kind of workout, you know, makes you feel great.
Right.
And right after a workout, you're like, that's awesome. Like, I feel amazing. I'm going to keep that up, you know? And then you get to the next available time to do that. And it's like, oh man, I'm really not feeling this right now, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just that constant, now I'm back to struggling with following through with that basic stuff that I know is going to make me feel good and probably help with some of the deeper or higher level stuff that it is I want to grow in, you know? And so that's just this past week, I think I've noticed that I have allowed myself to continue to progress, but I'm definitely slacking on some of the most basic principles and like values that I've tried to uphold for myself over the past few years. So
yeah, that foundation. Like you have to make sure the groundwork is good, and you have to keep working on the groundwork. I'm having such brain fog today. I keep losing my thought.
Oh, good, man. I know that for myself, I'm like this upcoming week, I'm trying to get myself situated at home and like organized so that I can begin this week to just get back to the basics. And I'm going to try and set up my routine. I have, you know, my planner I'm going to try to utilize and schedule out blocks of time for myself, because I've been noticing, I don't know if it's the weather or what, but I feel much more scatterbrained lately and not like as organized. And so I'm going to try to utilize a planner and some of the, some of the techniques and tools that we all know would be beneficial, like a to-do list or scheduling things out. I'm going to try and, make sure that I'm sticking to those things and then following through with the tasks that I'm laying out for myself. And I guess I'm telling myself that I know because of history that if I can build that and maintain it for 3 weeks to 4 weeks, then it's going to be much easier, to maintain. So, I want to get back to the B.A.D operation and slacking B.A.D on all of that.
Yeah, I've been up and down with it.
That's something that I think I really want to take charge of and implement and really follow through on that. And I think that I'll see results. There's other areas that I feel stagnant in right now, and I'm not sure how to move those things forward for myself, even though I'm showing up for them. It's like the world is filled with people that show up every day, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get to where they really want to go. So I'm willing to do the extra work, and I'm willing to go above and beyond, for it's like I'm willing to do it for someone else. If someone else has that reward or, the goal laid out for me, it's real easy for me to achieve that. If it's like a job or some opportunity, no problem. I'll kill whatever challenge it is, man. I have no problem moving through it and getting it done. And with like a great attitude and successful. And then for myself, it's like I have the answers right there. I know what they are, and I'm just slacking. And it's like,
so what I was gonna say is this whole idea behind self-worth, and I think that a lot of the challenges that I'm having and a lot of the reasons that I'm like not sticking with things is I'm fighting this self-worth feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get into something and I get deep into it and I'm like, hell yeah, I can fucking do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment that there's like this stagnant energy, the moment that there's not like all of this progress going on and there's silence, whether you call it the darkness or whatever you want to call it creeps in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I allow it. I mean, I'm already susceptible the way that my brain chemistry works. I'm like daily, my emotions go up and down and I do everything I can. I try to do everything I can to control that, but I'm susceptible to my negative thoughts more than the average person.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also my responsibility to fix that. And so I think a lot of the reason that like when I'm doing construction and then I'm like, well, I only need to take on this job. But then it's the end of the year and everyone's calling you and they're like, hey, can you get this done? Can you get this done? Can you get this done? I go, well, I'm not going to have time or I'm not going to have the chance to do this again. And in reality, like I could call 3 people and get work for 6 months. But I think there's a part of me that sometimes when that stagnant energy comes, there's a part of me that goes, again, who are you to think that you can do this? Who are you to think that you can help people? Who are you to think that you can create 3 businesses and employ all your friends, or not just employ, but like grow businesses and own businesses with your friends and with your family? And like, who do you think like it's a lot of you're not good enough.
Well, that's doubt, and that's the devil.
Yeah.
So you tell that voice to shut the fuck up.
And I do. It's just I get to a point where where things are overwhelming.
Yeah,
I shut down, and
then
by the time I'm almost out of it, you have the voices of doubt and stuff like that. And I know it's like it's a muscle too, to be able to shout back at yourself.
Yeah,
like it's a muscle that you have to grow.
It's hard to catch. It's hard to have the awareness, and then to do that battle with yourself and the ego and what it's attached to and used to. It's a battle.
And I think if people, I don't think I'm very different from, I think a lot of people struggle with the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we get to a point where AI or brain chips people can read our own thoughts, everyone is going to sound fucking crazy all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's.
'Cause I'm consistently arguing with myself, back and forth. Like, I know that's good for me to do. I don't want to do it. You're being lazy. I don't want to be lazy. You know, like it's like a constant back and forth, and it never ends.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's an element too that's I think you probably can relate to, like I do, where it's, you know, there's a certain level of suffering, if done for others, is almost like righteous in our minds. Like it's, you know, that by doing for others and allowing that to spread me thin, I'm showing up for them. So there's some value there. I'm creating value for myself and worth. You know, people need me. I feel needed. So that's, you know, makes you feel good, helps the ego feel better. But then it's like not showing up for yourself in other areas that, you know, you could be doing. It's like, well, I have the excuse to not do that because I'm spread thin and I'm tired. Right. So it's okay if I don't take care of myself right now because I'm being noble in my cause for working towards these other things. And as long as these other people are happy, I can at least go to bed feeling a little bit less worthless, you know, knowing that at least I have the excuse of saying I did it for someone else, you know.
Well, it's funny because I'll explain things to people when they're looking at problems and they come to me for a solution. Mm-hmm. And I'll explain to people that, like, no, you're adding too, and I think we've talked about it on here, like, you're adding too much color to it. Mm-hmm. And so I tell people, like, hey, think in black and white. You know, if this is a black and white decision and something is being harmed and you need to make a decision to get out of it, and there is one decision to get out of it, well, then it's all black and white. Right. And you're adding color because you're adding emotion. You're adding, you know, the time you've spent, you've added, like, all of this stuff. Yeah. Right. You're adding all this detail that doesn't need to be there. And for me, that's what I'm doing. I'm adding all of this stuff. And if you were to take a black and white, like, question, like, hey, is taking care of yourself okay? Or is taking care of everybody else and not taking yourself okay? Yeah. Like, taking care of yourself okay? I would obviously say, well, I need to take care of myself. Because if I'm not here, I can't take care of everybody else.
Well, so I would say, you know, most of the time I would say having black and white thinking is probably actually more negative than it is positive, unless you're in indecision about something that is harming your ability to move through a situation.
You know? And
like,
to make that clear, that's exactly what I mean.
Right. So it's different when, like you're explaining, when it comes to like work, family, friends, it's a lot more gray because there are two sides to every, you know, scenario and perspective to each one of those situations where it can be totally justified to participate or do or not, you know. And so I think, you know, finding the balance, again, like, you know, everybody gets caught up, I think, in their thoughts at times and struggling with what direction they are trying to go and caught in that indecision. And so for myself, like, that's why I'm getting back to basics. I want to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and moving intentionally through each day before I try to take on the rest of it, you know. And then I think for myself, actually thinking about things before I respond to it and decide to move into something or not, and the effects that it could have on me. You know, it's okay for me to say no more, you know, and a lot of the times I don't like to say no. And then because I get caught up in these moments, there's times when, like, I should say no to something that I end up doing. And then there's things that I don't do that I should do for myself because I've exhausted that energy, you know, in a different area. And, you know, I think this is the game of life, right? It's the whole process, and figuring it out is the purpose. I think a lot of people, you know, struggle with purpose and not realizing that you figure out the purpose, and part of the whole purpose and point of life is to go through the journey and to learn how to navigate it. Like, that's what makes it fulfilling and makes it worth it. And we can add value to things that are going to help us grow and help us feel more balanced and peaceful in our lives. And we can also put the energy into the things that probably keep us away from our truest desires or truest self, highest self. And I just haven't been still enough lately to really tap into that, you know. And I think creating a little more time for myself to really slow down and analyze, you know, certain aspects of life, I think will be beneficial. And then just accountability with friends and family, you know,
Yeah.
really trying to stick to the things that I want to implement. You know, it's tough, it's hard, and you have to have people that are supportive when things are kind of gray and iffy.
Yeah, I think you know, and like I know something that really helped me was, and I talked to Matt about this too, like having our meeting once a week shows me that there's you know, it's not just me
Mm.
who's giving a shit about what we're doing. And while it's on me to like call the meetings, while it's on me to like do a lot of the stuff because everybody else has completely full-time jobs, when I missed even calling one, because I didn't even remember
Mm-hmm.
like at all. It kind of hit me and I was like, man, like this is the shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't, just because this is what's bringing in the money, like just because this thing that you're doing right now is what's bringing in the money does not mean it can take away from what is at your heart.
Yeah.
Because if so, you're going to spend another 15 years, another 10 years, another whatever,
Yeah.
doing things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, I started to really think this last couple of days too. I've wanted to crawl into a hole and not answer my phone, not talk to anybody for 10 days. And like that's my brain kept just fucking just shut your phone off. Don't go do a job. Just don't answer. Just disappear for 10
Mhm.
days. And I know deep down that I can't, it's not who I am. I
Yeah.
can't do it. I would sit there for 10 days
Mhm.
in a ball of fucking anxiety,
Right.
thinking about everything. I'm not going to relax that way. The only way I'm going to relax is to try and figure out, not even relax. The only way I'm going to be able to be productive and have stresses going on is learning how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
not giving up on it.
Got to go through it.
Yeah. And so, you know, there's a point where it's okay. And we had a newsletter out where it was like, it's okay to take a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to take a day and reset your house. It's okay to take a day and take a day for you. I didn't have that growing up, you know. It was go to work every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter if I was up partying. It didn't matter if I was
Well,
didn't sleep.
I think there's a certain level of that
Yeah.
should be acceptable and
100%.
is okay. You know, it's different taking time to recover from partying
100%.
than it is to take a mental health day to get yourself organized
Yeah.
and taken care of. You know, big difference. And when you are out there partying like that and struggling to get to the responsibilities, like you should suffer
Mm-hmm.
because it's your decision. You
Yeah.
know, to
That's
be
what
feeling
grows
that
you
way.
out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and I think
Usually.
that's why having the tools and discipline set up to fall back into a routine that keeps you continually, you know,
Yeah.
maintaining and moving forward, or having accountability and friends,
Yeah.
or family is super important because, you know, like I do, that any level of ascension or growth in life that we want to achieve is going to require a higher level of us to
Yes.
show up to. You know, none of us are going to get to where we want to go if we don't put out more
Mm-hmm.
than the standard, you know. And that, I think, is the thing that I've been able to hold on to, even when I've struggled to make it through a day or a week, or, you know, getting a bad attitude. I remind myself, like, you know, any other version of life where you didn't want to get more out of it, like it'd be totally fine to
Yeah.
just kick back and sulk, or, you know, get in the feelings and not make a move. But I don't like suffering that way. It feels uncomfortable, and that uncomfortability is more annoying to me and bothersome than the energy it takes to go show up for myself.
Right.
So, you know, it's like you said, that argument that you have with yourself every day, like that, I think is one of the things that has kept me in the mornings, you know, away from doing what it is I know I should do, is having this little back and forth mentally about what I should be doing. And it's like, well, if I would just stand up or sit down and pick up the book or do the push-ups, like that's me taking action towards it. And I've just been stagnant and,
I think so the reason that I think I'm challenging or that I'm, having a difficulty with it is not only because I'm giving myself less time and I'm struggling with the aspect of doing it because I know it's hard in the moment, but it's better for me then, is I'm not looking at it as the enjoyment of it again.
Mhm.
Like I'm not looking at it as I enjoy reading, I enjoy writing, I enjoy doing this. So this is what I was talking about earlier when I said about being capable. Like that's what drives me.
Well-
What drives me is the enjoyment of going out and pushing myself on runs and pushing myself with my vest on and doing, like me and Matt were talking about going back and doing, gun classes and stuff like that because the physicality behind it is tough and the mental portion of it is tough too. So what I've looked back and realized over the past like 4 or 5 years is I've done a minuscule amount of things that I actually enjoy doing.
Mhm.
And that's why, like, I was having fun. We were going to rock climbing,
Mhm.
like I'm having fun out in Colorado. Why? Because I'm out hiking. Like, it's not that I can't do that kind of stuff here. It's that I'm not allowing myself to.
Mhm.
And I think that it's all like, I think that what I'm doing is helping myself by working constantly and doing all of these things.
Mhm.
But in reality, I have the capability of stopping what I'm doing
Mhm.
for 6 hours. Doesn't have to be a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it for an hour a day, but for me, it's better. Like just me personally, it's better for me to chunk it off. Like for 6 hours, you're going to go out. You're going to do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
You're going to go in and actually find something. Start with 6 hours a week, whether it's on a Saturday, whether it's on a Sunday. I'm not going to involve alcohol. I'm not going to involve, like it's not
Yeah,
who I
I
am.
mean-
I'm just going to go and do something
Yeah.
that I want to fucking do.
Yeah.
That's going to bring me joy.
Yeah, it's organizing your time to make sure you dedicate it in a more beneficial way to you.
Yeah.
So that you don't have that voice at the end of the night or at the beginning of the day saying, well, if you are maxing out with this work or doing what you have to do because you have to get that done, then you don't have the excuse when you're holding yourself accountable to the things that you really want to do, right? And when you create that time, then that part of you that would typically give the excuse like, oh, you already showed up and went to work and did what you had to do, so you can feel better knowing that you didn't show up for yourself. When you create that awareness, it's like, I'm going to dedicate that hour or 2 hours or 6 hours to myself. And then you keep that in the forefront of your mind. Then you're really letting yourself down if you don't show up to that, but it at least brings awareness to that.
Yeah.
And you're at least not just jumping right to well, I did this for this person and that person, and I'm so tired. It's okay if I don't, it will require a different level, for the growth. And I think it's so easy to slip into the routine. It's hard to remember that sometimes. And, that's why we've, I think, had a great friendship, and it's easy to motivate the right kind of person, if they understand it and have been through it.
I agree.
It's makes it a little easier. Iron sharpens iron.
Right.
So
right.
I think that's a big point of what it is we're trying to do here is create the conversation in the community for people to be able to work with each other and help each other grow and learn based on the lessons that they've figured out in life. And I think that's what has helped us all progress, to where we're at, where we're actually doing something. And
The B.A.D Project is about finding those small distractions that keep you moving when life tries to pin you down. That's what our gear stands for. They're reminders you can wear, carry, and share to push through those hard days. Every shirt, every hat, every sticker helps spread the message. When you're wearing it, you're not just buying our merch, you're backing the mission. We're building more than just a brand. As we roll out B.A.D activity events, your support helps make them possible. With new drops, holiday specials, and surprises always around the corner, we really are just getting started. If you want to go even deeper, hit our new Patreon for Bad Thoughts episodes, bonus content, behind the scenes, and a closer seat in this community we're building. We're even doing giveaways. So check out the gear at thebadproject.com, hit our Patreon, and follow us on all the socials to stay locked in. This movement's only growing, and you're going to be a part of it. Thanks for everything you guys are doing. Love you all. Every crew's got that one guy who shows up late, drinks gas station mud, and wonders why he feels like trash by lunch. Don't be that guy. Construction Coffee Co. isn't cheap sludge. It's small batch coffee roasted to keep you moving when everyone else is crying about their backs. Smooth enough to sit black, strong enough to keep you upright when your foreman's breathing down your neck. Fuck that guy. And yeah, they've got gear too. Shirts, hats, workwear built tough enough for the job site, not that pajama junk your apprentice wears. This stuff actually holds up when you're crawling through mud or hanging steel. They're there for you to roast beans and roast you, just like you do with your buddies on the job, because that's the culture. Talk trash, laugh hard, and get it done. Construction Coffee Co. Clock in, drink up, shut up. Go to constructioncoffeeco.com to get yours.
Cass & Co. Upscale Thrift is redefining resale. Think timeless fashion, luxury brands, and curated pieces, all at prices that let you stay stylish without the splurge. Whether you're hunting for vintage classics or this season's designer staples, we'll make high-end accessible. Dress like you own the runway for a fraction of the price. We're just getting to another point where it's going to require another level of energy and focus to, raise it to the next bar.
So I was going to do this with everybody, and I didn't do it with Matt, but if I record with him this week, I was planning on sitting down. And you know how we talked on the meetings about where we want this to go, what we want from it. And you don't have to answer this right now because I'm guessing that you don't have it right in front of you or whatever. But if you do, like in your mind, where do you want? Because everybody knows where I want this to go. Mm-hmm. We have a couple businesses. We have literally businesses that are sitting in a shack right now that we're not even touching.
Untouched. Yeah.
Like, where do you want all this to go?
So I've gone through different like phases of thought and reality in life on, in terms of working like a full spectrum, where on one hand I was the guy that like didn't want to do shit, didn't want to show up, didn't want to participate, didn't want to do anything, all the way to the guy doing it all to try and level up, and everything in between. And then mentally and emotionally and spiritually, I've gone from, at different points in life, from feeling like money and the responsibility is extremely important and needing more, through to knowing that the monetary stuff really doesn't matter and shouldn't define my life or the way that I operate in it. And finding the balance to all of those things has been the goal of mine, right? So I feel like I have value in the relationships that I'm able to build with people. So in theory, right, like my ideal role in life would be one in which I'm helping people and helping people find their path the same way that I'm working on finding mine towards self-realization and just a higher level of understanding and functionality in this world and in the reality we're in, and so I think we're on the right path by creating something for ourselves, because it doesn't matter what we choose to do. We can bring whatever attitude and whatever relationships and experiences we want to bring to any company or business. And I'm realizing that's a self-created thing, right? Like I am what brings that to my reality. So it doesn't matter if I'm shoveling shit or making deals, anything in between, I can have an effect and an influence over that. And it can be as positive as I want it to be. So I think finding something that creates a level of pride, but not like a false pride or a self-righteous, like not that, but feeling good about the work that I'm putting in and the energy that I'm putting into something, feeling like it's going to take care of me and my family and my boys to be able to take care of themselves, that like is to me what it's really all about. I've opened my mind to feeling like it has to come a certain kind of way, and I know that I am placed in certain situations and with certain opportunities based off of the attitude that I'm having and the outlook that I'm having and perceiving in life. I've ended up in places doing things for people and a part of things that I never thought I would be. And it's like in retrospect, I'm like, oh, well, I could totally see how I manifested that, and I helped create that with my thinking and my actions. But that's all after the fact in retrospect. And, hindsight is, what allows me to say that. It wouldn't be like that as I'm going through it. It doesn't feel that way. I'm still trying to figure out where it is I'm going and what I'm doing. But I have settled into the aspect that like, I'm not going to know what that looks like. So as long as I can keep showing up with the right attitude and maintaining the right value system or character as I go through life, I can trust and have faith that I will end up in all of the right spots, So I can't define for you necessarily where in reality it is that I want to go monetarily or physically speaking, but I can tell you the things that I want to feel when I get there, which is a sense of peace and fulfillment and care towards life and my family and friends, It's
a great answer.
That's
I mean, and that's what I was kind of talking to the guys about. Like when I was talking to all you guys, like I didn't care what the answer was. What I truly wanted to know is everybody's goals. Like if it is something that's physical, if it is monetary, if it is like you want to only be able to like do this and provide, like that's okay too. I mean, I
can break that stuff down and I can tell you like how much I want to make, what I want to be doing every day. I can give you answers to those things, but in the end, it's the feelings that those experiences should be creating within me. That's the goal.
And what that does for me too is it helps me when I ask you guys those questions. Like it doesn't matter how you answer it. I can't pay you right now. You know what I mean? Like it shows me where everybody's at, because if somebody comes to me and their answer is, well, I just want to be able to, do this full time and whatever, then I know right now their worries are based on the fact that they don't like what they're doing right now. Mm-hmm. They think that they would like to be here and they want to be paid to be here. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I really like that answer. Like obviously, me and you both know we could answer the question monetarily where we would like to be, what would be comfortable, and give us enough to start other things too.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, anything that I apply myself at, I can be good at.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
but the feeling
I could be great and feel fulfilled as an over-the-road truck driver or a Formula One driver. Yeah. Formula One would be way more fun,
exactly.
But either way, in theory, I can gain the same fulfillment from either one. Yeah. There are aspects of life that I would like to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But I know that my vision
commune living on a yacht.
Yeah, like I'm okay with that. We can do that. Charter fishing, all that stuff. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But the way that I look at it as I'm going through it is going to look different when I'm looking at it retrospectively. So like what I think and feel and want now is going to look different in 5 years or 10 years when I'm looking back on these moments, because there's things that I'm not seeing that are going to come to pass, and it'll all make sense then.
Yeah. Well, we know that's going to happen because the same shit happened 5 years ago for us now. Right. So 10 years ago from us now.
So I'm not attaching myself to it's got to play out a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Because I know it's more so about the everything that's getting brought to it and with it that matters a lot more than the result, than the end.
And I appreciate that answer because it helps me too. It helps me not to think of this, and I don't, but it helps me, to stop the obvious nagging thoughts of like, how are you going to keep paying for this? Like, I don't know. I'm going to figure it the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to figure it the fuck out.
the things that there's an avoidance to, or there's this resistance to, are the same things that are going to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same things that make you feel accomplished and responsible. Being able to go grab a job and keep people working, and knowing that you can go do that and provide, is a much greater feeling in retrospect.
Yeah.
Or at a higher level than not having to do it and being a lesser person as you're going through it.
Yeah.
Like you develop skills to be able to provide certain things in your life, and it's a blessing that you're able to do that. If you didn't have that ability, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be able to do that. You'd be, doing something different that could be far more uncomfortable. And
when we, just like going back on the whole self-worth thing too, I think that's a big thing that really got me at the Grove, and really got me when I stopped, and even now, like people depended on me to find work.
mm-hmm.
And then I initially I had to have the conversations and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, do you want me to keep finding work?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was not undivided. It was not an overwhelming, yeah, absolutely. Because everybody was sick of the work.
Yeah, it's if we have to.
Yeah. But then now everybody is working for other people again.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, man, this fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it gives a different level of
and I'm like, well, yeah, that's why I asked you guys if
right.
you want to work. And then now, my buddy Jake and stuff is trying to start up his own thing, and I'm trying to help with that too. And
mm-hmm.
but I know how to be. There's a creeping thought where it's like you're responsible for helping people get through hard times.
You can be. You can have a hand in,
but I don't mean like handing money over financially.
No.
I mean, for whatever reason, ever since I was young, it was always like it's your responsibility to take care of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched my mom do that, and I watched my dad do that, and like that just comes from being a good person in my eyes.
Yeah,
like that's obviously a thing. You help people in their time of need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very weary now. I'm very open-eyed to the taking advantage aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the people don't, and I'm not saying this is happening to me now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that if I continue to do everything for somebody and they in turn don't change,
mm-hmm.
and I have to keep helping them. Well, I don't have to keep helping them, but it's also my responsibility to tell them, hey, this is why I'm no longer.
Yeah, I mean, you create those boundaries
right.
for what you're willing to participate in or not, and everything that you engage in, good, bad, or ugly, you're choosing to participate in. And so just making sure that you're communicating with yourself honestly, that you can communicate with the rest of the world honestly, is, something to be mindful of.
Yeah.
You got to remind yourself, like, think about how you're feeling about certain situations, and aspects of it, and then being able to communicate what you really think and feel about something.
I had this talk. Well, that's why I was bringing it up, because I had this talk with my therapist on Friday, and he brought it to light to me that it's obviously something that I knew, but I'm hiding from myself, is the people who would have taken advantage of me, or who I'm allowing to step on me, wouldn't do it if I were to say, hey, you're fucking doing this.
Yeah, that's the next piece that I was going to say.
That's my fault.
That's what I was going to say. Are the people aware?
No, because they just, like, the way that he had said it was, oh yeah, we'll go to Garrett. Garrett will help you figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, people operate what they know.
Yeah,
based off of what they know, unless
and I don't want to turn people away from being able to call me and say, hey, how can I get through this? Or hey, I just need to vent to you for a minute, or hey, this, or hey, that. But there is an aspect of me that has to look out for myself first, and has to be like, no, or it has to be like, yeah, I'll help you, but you're going to do the work.
Right.
You know, like I'm not a charity case. You're not going to be a charity case to me, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
so it was just something that I just, you know, if you're sitting there and you're dwelling and you're like, why the fuck is this person, you know, doing this? Or I can't believe they keep acting this way towards me or whatever. Like, challenge yourself to think, have you actually had the conversation with them? Have you been very direct? Because if you have, then there's a black and white way to handle that situation.
Well, exactly. Yeah. If you're not in indecision and you have communicated, then you have the ability to say, this is happening. I'm not a fan of this. This needs to change. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are just living their life in their own way, in their own space, and they are unaware to how other people are perceiving them.
Yeah.
You know, because they're very focused on their needs and their wants and their perspective.
Well, it brings this aspect of comfortability too, right? So if I'm helping somebody and they know that I'm going to help them, of course they're going to keep coming back for help because it's a comfortable place to be.
Yeah.
And as humans, we want to be comfortable.
Well, it's hard too.
We chase it.
Yeah. It's hard because like, I know sometimes that I don't necessarily have like the mental capacity to be there for somebody and hear their venting, or a lot of times there's complaining going on in certain areas or aspects where it's like, and from my perspective, it's like, do you not see how you're affecting this area of your life in which you're complaining about? However, when I have to call somebody to vent or get something off my chest, am I asking them ahead of time, like, hey, do you have the time or do you have the ability or energy to hear me complain about like this stuff? And you know,
I have called and said, hey, I just need to hear something good.
Yeah,
like just tell me something good that's going on.
And I know enough a lot of times to say, like, I'm looking for advice, or I just need to get this off my chest. Like, let me just rant about it for a minute.
But hardly have I ever been like, hey, do you have the time to listen to me?
It's only when I'm being mindful in those moments based off of what I'm doing or reading about that I truly remember that. And I think that's where, you know, getting back to the basics and creating more mindfulness right away at the beginning of the day is, you know, for me, that's like a big part of what keeps me in awareness to, you know, how I'm functioning through life or my
morning time or nighttime. And in the morning, what I'd like to do is what I really enjoy doing is trying to manifest and show what my day is and give myself the ability to have gratitude throughout the day. And then if you can do either or, and then at night it's trying to look back through where you could have been grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or manifesting the next morning, or, you know.
Yeah. And I think both of those aspects are areas of mindfulness, right? And I think you need both to create the proper amount of mindfulness in your life. You need to be looking at what you could do better, because we're not perfect. And there's definitely areas that we could grow that would simultaneously relieve some of the suffering, right? Is taking the time to just spend a little more energy in being mindful, but then setting intentions, right? Like in the morning, like you're saying, setting intentions and manifesting those things, like they all go hand in hand. You know, you have to be grateful for the things that sometimes even suck, because what would you be doing otherwise? You know, like everything could be so much worse. So there has to be, I think, an element of gratitude that goes into mindfulness. And I think you and I both struggle at times with really being mindful. We might pick an area or pick something and kind of incorporate it enough to give ourselves like the dopamine hit of like, you know, well, I did this. Yeah. And then in this other area, I took care of this, and that, and this person. And so like, I know I didn't take care of myself today, but it's okay because I was taking care of this other stuff. So it's that like noble, you know, bullshit that we feed ourselves. Like
I think me and you definitely chase each other back and forth with stuff like that too.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll be going off about something and then you're like, hey, what about this? Or you'll be going off and I'll be like, hey, well, what about this?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that friendship really
Yeah, it's good to have
balances, you know.
the people that help you maintain your perspective on reality, right? And like we're all unable at times to see the forest through the trees, and it's really hard when you're going through it. But I think as you create the friendships and the community or the family relationships where you have people that are not afraid to be honest with you and to see, and say something about what they're seeing. I think that's as you're developing, you naturally find that in the people that you put yourself around. If there's kind of a like-minded um, idea or goal to continue being better people and growing in life, there are definitely people that could care less. And I don't think they're hanging around the people that could, right? Like at some point, people leave each other behind if they're not equally trying to grow in some way, shape, or form. And that's where you find people that don't realize that they're taking advantage because they don't have the awareness. I forget a lot of the time to take pity on people that aren't in certain places in life where like I've got something figured out, or at least think that I have it figured out, then I see somebody else acting a certain way and it's like, why don't they get it? And it's like, well, there's a lot of people that don't get it in life in many areas. And is it myself that needs to bring their awareness to it to help them through it? Or is it just life that needs to teach them that lesson? And then that's where you decide if you're going to be involved, and the boundaries thing really comes into play there. Like, am I allowing myself to participate in this? If I'm going to, can I help shape it in a positive way? And I think just taking the time, like you were saying, at night to think about where we could go better and things, and to have gratitude, and then in the morning setting the intentions and looking for areas to grow and be mindful in as we move through life. It's that kind of stuff has to happen on a regular basis.